and I will have to enforce the law in order to save the nation. Act 4. All members, while making a public speech, must not use any assertion against the American flag or speak radical against the church or any member of any organized group, because we are to teach love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Act 5. All members must promptly attend their meetings and send their children to Sunday school, and the teacher must confirm himself to the questionnaire, and let every member exercise his 5 senses who are able to do so, because out from your Sunday school comes the guiders of the nation. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and partial of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slave holders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Jew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites whom inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and a partial of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become part of the uplifting and fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Jew Ali, through the guidance of his father, God Allah. Thus I've read the 7 acts of the divine constitution of bylaws and the 7 acts of the questionnaire and additional laws for the Moorish Americans by the prophet, Noble Jew Ali. Peace.
Peace.
Islam Moors. I'd like to turn your attention to the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Circle 7, divinely prepared by the noble prophet Jew Ali, by the guidance of his father, God Allah, the great God of the universe, to redeem man from his sinful and fallen stage of humanity back to the highest plane of life with his father, God Allah. I'm going to turn your attention to chapter number 4. Found on page number 8, Divine Instructions from the Holy Prophet, chapter number 4, Death and Burial of Elizabeth, Matheno's Lessons, the Ministry of Death. Verse 1. When John was 12 years old, his mother died, and neighbors laid her body in a tomb among their kindred in the Hebron burying grounds and near to Zachariah's tomb. And John was deeply grieved, he wept. Matheno said, "It is not well to weep because of death. Death is no enemy of man, it is a friend, who when the works of life is done, just cuts the cord that binds the human boat to earth, that it may sail on smoother seas. No one can describe a mother's worth, and yours was tried and true, but she was not called hence until her tasks were done. The cause of death are always for the best, for we are solving problems there as well as here, and one is sure to find himself where he can solve his problems best. It is selfishness that makes one wish to call again to earth departed souls. Then let your mother rest in peace. Just let her noble life be strength and inspiration unto you. A crisis in your life has come, and you must have a clear conception of the work that you are called to do. The sages of the ages call you harbinger. The prophets look to you and say, he is Elijah come again. His mission here is that of a harbinger, for you will go before the Messiah's face to pave his way and make the people ready to receive their king. This readiness is purity of heart. None but the pure in heart can recognize the king. To teach men to be pure in heart you must yourself be pure in heart and word and deed. In infancy, the vow for you was made, and you became a Nazarite. The razor shall not touch your face nor head, and you shall not taste wine or fiery drinks. Men need a pattern for their lives. They love to follow, not to lead. The man who stands upon the corner of the path and points the way, but does not go, is just a pointer, and a block of wood can do the same. The teacher treads the way on every span of ground. He leaves his footprints clearly cut, which all can see and be assured that he, their master, went that way. Men comprehend the inner life by what they see and do. They come to Allah through ceremonies and forms. And so when they would make men know that sins are washed away by purity and life, a rite symbolic may be introduced. In water wash the body of the people who would turn away from sin and strive for purity in life. This rite of cleansing is a preparation rite, and they who thus are cleansed comprise the temple of purity. And you shall say, you men of Israel, hear, reform and wash, become the sons of purity, and you shall be forgiven. This rite of cleansing and this temple are but symbolic of the soul, which does not come with outward show, but is the temple within. Now, you may never point the way and tell the multitudes to do what you have never done, but you must go before and show the way. You are to teach that men must wash, so you must lead the way. Your body must be washed, symbolic of the cleansing of the soul. John said, why need I wait? May I not go at once and wash? Matheno said, 'tis well. And they went down to the Jordan ford and east of Jericho, just where the hosts of Israel crossed when first they entered Canaan. They tarried for a time. Matheno taught the harbinger, and he explained to him the inner meaning of the cleansing rite and how to wash himself and how to wash the multitude. And in the river Jordan, John was washed. Then they returned unto the wilderness. Now in En-Gedi's hill, Matheno's work was done, and he and John went down to Egypt. They rested until they reached the temple of Saqqara in the valley of the Nile. For many years, Matheno was a master in the temple of the brotherhood. And when he told about the life of John and of his mission to the sons of men, the Hierophant with joy received the harbinger, and he was called the brother Nazarite. For 18 years, John lived and wrought within these temple gates. And here he conquered self, became a mastermind, and learned the duty of a harbinger. Peace. Thus I've read the entire chapter found on page number 8, Divine Instructions from the Holy Prophet, chapter number 4, Death and Burial of Elizabeth, Matheno's Lessons, the Ministry of Death. Our meeting is officially open according to the Prophet's Law, officially open according to the Circle 7. I welcome here all this evening, and we know the order of business for today is to honor our past secretary, the past secretary of Moorish Science Temple number 54, Brother Q. Evans Eel, or as he was jokingly called by us, Brother Q. That's our brother. That's our brother. And Brother Q. Evans Eel, a true soldier of Drew Ali, a brother that would give you the shirt off your back. Off his back, he would give you the shirt. And when I look in the Holy Quran, I say to myself, you know, what verses may apply to what type of individual Brother Q. Evans Eel was and is? Because that brother loved this temple and he loved the Prophet so much that he ain't going nowhere. He may not be with us in flesh anymore, But Brother Q Evans Eel is still with us. His spirit is still with us. His vibration is still with us. Because that brother, listen, there's times he came to call me on the phone and said, Mo, I'm downstairs. You got to get to the temple. I'm downstairs. And when I took too long, the brother found his way in the building and was ringing my doorbell to get the chairman, who was probably 20 years or more younger than him, he hurrying me up. So that's what type of brother Brother Q Evans Eel was and is. And who was he? A tiller of the soil, a generous soul, a seeker after truth who loved the words that Prophet Noble Jew Ali spoke. That is Brother Q Evans Eel. He loved the prophet. He loved the prophet's words. He loved this organization, and he loved Moorish Science Temple number 54. I'm not going to be long-winded. I'm going to make one comment from this chapter, and then I'm going to call on the next speaker. In this chapter, even though we look at it and it's talking about John's mother died, all of us have lost a loved one. And when you lose a loved one, when I first got these instructions, I said to myself, well, I'm reading these instructions, but how will I ever know if these instructions have taken a hold of me unless I experience that event? If I don't experience that event, then all I'm doing is reading it at this point. But when that event does come, now I'll know how I've taken a hold of the prophet's instructions in regards to this chapter. And my last comment is, yes, a crisis in our lives have come. Absolutely, his immediate family, that's a crisis. That's a crisis. Because that brother is truly missed. But it's also a crisis for us. Because that brother was a true soldier of Jew Ali. He was an excellent secretary, and he was a good brother. So as the family are experiencing that loss and that crisis, us too in Moorish Science Temple number 54, we are experiencing the crisis of losing this brother. That's how good this brother, Brother Q Evans Eel, was and is. Our brother Q. I have no further comments, Moors. Let us have a song, and we'll hear from our next speaker of the evening. We'll hear from the Assistant Grand Sheik / Grand Governor. We'll hear from Brother C. Herpet.
This little light of mine, Muslims, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, oh Muslims, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, Muslims, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. All in my home, Muslims, I'm gonna let it shine. All in my home, Muslims, I'm gonna let it shine. All in my home, Muslims, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Islam, Moors.
Islam.
I rise and I give praise unto Allah, the great God of the universe. And give honor to Prophet Noble Jew Ali, the founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America. He came in due time to redeem that which was lost. He came for you, he came for me. As the prophet said, I come for the little ones that's sitting in your laps and the ones yet unborn. I give honor to my prophet, to your prophet. He's the world's prophet. It's not just our prophet. He's a universal prophet. And he brought with him the everlasting gospel. And in that everlasting gospel, it's a saving power. And if you use it, you can save yourself. I give honor to all those whom the prophet gave honor to. Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, and Confucius. etc. To give honor to all the past leaders of the Moorish Science Temple. I give honor to all those who do what the prophets say do. I give honor to the Grand Sheik, the Moorish Science Temple of America. I give honor to the Grand Sheik of Temple number 54, Brother D. Clark Gill. And more especially on this day, I'm going to give special honors to Brother Q. Evans, our secretary, keeper of the secrets, keeper of the records. I give honor to our charter, with its 10 wonders of the world, which gives us the right to teach and practice Islam here in America without molestation. I give honor to the 2 flags combined, to the American flag, Young Glory, and I give honor to the Moorish flag, Old Glory, the decent flag of my forefathers. I give honor to Brother Q. Evans' daughter and granddaughter, who's here with us. See, his work don't stop. And that's what we're here for. We're here for Brother Q's last meeting. Right?
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right. That's right.
That's what this is. So you know he's taking minutes.
That's right.
Huh? Allah said his work is done. See, if we knew what the prophet said when you bring someone in your family into this truth, you know how much of a blessing that is? Your work is done. You've done all that you can do. And that's one thing. First and foremost, Brother Q. Evans is a father. He's a husband. He's a brother. He's a grandfather. He's a soldier. And we give honor to that. We give honor to his life. You know, I just want to talk about a few things with Brother Q. And one of the things with Brother Q is when my mother passed home in 2019. And afterwards, I remember with Brother Q with his mother passing for him. So I asked, I said, Brother Q, you all right? And everything, how you holding up? He said, yeah, well, I'm all right. I just watched you. And I watched and seen how you handled your mother's passing. And it gave me strength. So now I'm going to say to you, I'm going to sit and watch you. Because you got these lessons. See how you handle this crisis. See, because Allah don't put more on you than you can handle. You know, and even when I looked at my mother, 2019, and I was comfortable with it. I didn't know what was coming ahead, 2020, and I said, praise Allah. Because I didn't want my mother to have to live through that. But she was going to have a tough time. And Allah said, your work is done. And when your work is done, it's done. But you'll get a chance to come back. Yes. See, that's the only thing with this. Because we got 2,000 more years to go in this age. You'll be back. You'll keep coming back until all your lessons are learned. There is no death. There is no death. That's why you got all these people thinking that paper mache can save them. Because they fear what? Something that's not even real. You can't die. See, we get so used to being in these clay forms that we begin to think that this is all there is. That's why the lesson said, tarries many ages. Tarry means to linger. You ever see people lingering around? Hey, the party's over. You gotta go. You give some people, they'll try to stay here on the plane of things made manifest, what? Forever. Hey, I'm comfortable just like this. And then you have those that just totally waste this life. Because this is an opportunity. We are here in a school. It says, until you finish all your studies in the Egyptian schools. Well, nobody ever told you what the Egyptian school is. This is it. This is the school. And you got to finish all your studies. And yeah, we got to go through birth, growing up, life, death. We got to go through all of that. Because see, that's the riddle of that Sphinx that's on that charter. That's what it teaches you about. And we want to get to that point where we can master this. Where we don't got to come back no more. Where we don't have to use these planetary machines no more. We got to feed it. We got to take care of it. We got to manage it. It's just like a car. You know, when I look at the brothers and they be out there waxing the cars, and I just think about it. Wow, I used to do that. The things I used to do, I don't do no more because there's something else that's more important than waxing that car. Focus on yourself. Take these lessons and save yourself. Hurt Bay can't save you. I could assist you, but I can't save you. That's a job only you are called to do. Think about my daughter. My daughter's traveling around. I can't save her. She has to do that job. With that, I'm going to read the chapter on weakness. Which is found on page 52. I'm going to read from the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Circle 7, divinely prepared by the noble prophet Jew Ali by the guiding of his father, God Allah, the great God of the universe, to redeem man from his sinful and fallen stage of humanity back to the highest plane of life with his father, God Allah. Islam. Chapter number 42. Holy instructions from the prophet, weakness. I want to start from verse 19. The virtues are allotted to various stations. That means you don't get all the virtues on one stop. You got to go through a few stations. We live here in New York, so we know about the transit system, right? We have the largest transit system in the world here. But the virtues are allotted to what? Various stations. Not every station, because you may be on the what? Express. Some people catch the local. This the prophet has put you on. He's put you on the what? Express. Let every member what? Exercises what? 5 senses who is able to do so. So you can do what? Express yourself. Because your right only extends as far as your ability to what? Express yourself. To use your faculties of mind. Seek not after impossibilities, nor grieve that thou canst not possess them all. Some people waste their time going after things that they know is impossible for you to achieve. It's a waste of time. I'm not saying take the easy way out. don't go after impossibilities. You know? It's like a man, if you're 45, your days of becoming a rapper is over. That's seeking after what? Impossibilities. It's done. Find something else that's within your circle of what? Possibilities. You know, they got a commercial out like that. You ever heard of MasterCard? And what is MasterCard? What's their slogan? Master the possibilities. Well, you got a card, don't you? It's called a nationality card. And to me, that's the MasterCard for me. I never leave home without it. What if thou at once have the liberality of the rich and the contentment of the poor? Shall the wife of thy bosom be despised because she showeth not the virtues of a widow? Paul gone now. Time for me to live. If thy father sink before thee in the divisions of thy country, can at once thy justice destroy him and thy duty save his life? Now here's where I wanted to get to. If thou behold thy brother in the agonies of slow death, is it not mercy to put a period to his life? See, in a sentence, there's a period, but it didn't say you can't begin another paragraph. Let me read on. And is it not also death to be his murderer? So, you know, it says that death is no enemy of man. It's a friend, right? So, if I'm your friend, I don't want to see you suffer in the agonies of slow death. So that's when death comes in and says, all right, that's enough. That's enough. Let me cut this cord. Well, how does Solomon say, or ever the silver cord be cut, or the golden bowl be broken? See, so death comes and says, all right, that's enough. This person, they didn't went through enough. It's time to cut that cord. The work is done. And I can guarantee you, Brother Q gave Brother Death a lesson as he was cutting the cord. Yeah, you know, I always wanted to talk to you, brother. I guarantee you that.
Yes.
You know, because when I was 9, you know, I know you take me to see the prophet, right?
But on the way.
And we don't play I'm calling my grand Sheik. You take me to see the prophet. Because when I was 9 years old, that's right. Gave Death a lesson. You know? Man, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. We know the more is not gone. We know the more is not gone. Look at all this work. Look, I know I gotta sit down, Grand Sheik, but let me tell you, from his work, he saved the soul. He saved many of you in his own family, immediate family. But we got some members in our temple, man, that was directly responsible for this brother's work. See, that carries over. That carries over. See, because we got another bank account. See, and this bank account been adding up for all the lifetimes you've been living.
That's right.
So just think about the good works that he's done. And we got to carry it on. We can't leave you alone now. I didn't want to break it to you here, but you know, you're stuck with us now.
That's right.
All right. So, ain't gonna be no